name's Wayne and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be building a welding table. I've been wanting to do this project for a long time. You saw my last video where I just picked up a Multimatic 220 from Miller. It's a great multi-process welder. And now I am sick and tired of doing welding projects on my garage floor. There's a lot of different ways and different designs you can do as far as building a welding table. And I'm going to show you what I've come up with that I think is the best for my application. So with my limited garage space, I decided on a table that is 24 inches wide by 41 inches long. It's going to be 36 inches high roughly, and the top plates are going to be spaced 1 inch apart. I also thought of having an optional pullout on one side. That way I can mount a chop saw on there and use the table also for cutting steel. On the short sides, I'm going to have some flat stock. That way I can hang some equipment on those. And then the one long side, I'm going to leave that open. That way I can sit close to the table by a stool or a chair and have good ergonomics while I'm working at the table. So here's the basic materials list that I use to create the table. And you can see at the very bottom I have the optional casters and pullout if you decide to use them. And I wanted a way to easily square up my tubing for the frame of the table. And when I started looking at options and different ways to do that, I found a square by Fireball tool that I really liked. And this is their 8-inch square. And one neat thing about it is it has these tabs that you can put on each side. That way you can draw your tubes that you're going to weld up to it, or plate, or anything you're going to work with. You can draw them up tight to these. And then so you can set your perfect 90-degree angle here, but also keep them all level as well, all like with one unit. We'll clamp it all up and we'll see how this works. Now it's time to weld up the main frame of the table. Now this is going to be really critical because if it's not flat and square, well, the plates we weld on top and the rest of the usefulness of this table is not going to be very effective. And once the frame is all tacked together, we're going to start the welding sequence. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be welding the outside corners first. And once we get the first corner done, we move to the opposite corner. And the inside fillet welds are what we'll weld last, as those work against each other. And hopefully this is the last time I'll be doing a welding project on the floor of the garage. Now I also want to grind the welds on the outside of this frame smooth because I want to be able to clamp things to the outside of the table if I need to. That way the sides of the frame is square to the top. Now it's time to weld the legs to the table, and we'll just be using our welding magnets as long as our long squares to make sure the legs are nice and square perpendicular to our frame. Now it's time to drill out some holes in some 1/8-inch plate that I can bolt the casters to. Now it's time to weld the side braces to the legs of the table. The two short sides, I'll just be using flat stock. And then on the one long side, I'll be using angle for that. now we're getting into some fun stuff. So now we're putting the 3/8 plate on the top of the frame. And the first one is really the most critical. And I'm using some machinist blocks on the one short side with some clamps to make sure it's all mounted flush to the side of the frame of the table. And once I'm sure that first plate is all nice and square to the frame of the table, I'll go underneath the table and put some tacks on to hold it in place. And after the first plate is tacked in, it's just a matter of switching out the machinist blocks so I can get the top plates spaced out equally. And having the top plate spaced 1 inch apart allows me to use a standard clamp in the slots to be able to clamp to the plates. So like I mentioned earlier, I had the idea to put my chop saw in a little pull-out tray, or a drawer if you will. But to seat it actually in there, you know, the tubing that I'll be using isn't going to be large enough to basically hold and support it. So I thought about building a aluminum tray. Aluminum just to keep the weight down. And this way, this is a 2.5 inch angle aluminum, and it has a large enough footprint in here for the pads for the chop saw to rest in. So I just did a bunch of 45 miter cuts on this, and it's about 5 mils thick. So I'm going to do some practice welding. We're going to fire up the old Miller 220 again, switch it over to an aluminum TIG, and I'm going to do some practice welds and see if I can't get some welding good enough to weld this together. Now it's time to build the pullout for the chop saw. I'll be using 1.5 inch and 1.75 inch telescopic steel square tubing. Cool. That's pretty good. I'll take it. But it's time for the tedious task to tape off the top plates. Now I decided to paint my table. It would be really easy just to leave it natural steel, but I wanted to protect it, especially after all this work to build it. I'm really liking how it looks. Alright, so I let the primer dry overnight and I'm thinking it looks pretty good. So I have a pretty good coverage. And now we're going to put some color on it. And let me show you what I have for the color coat. And for the color, we're going blue. That's right. This is actually Ford blue. And we're using the Rust-Oleum again, farm and implement paint. I've heard good things about it. Heard it's very durable. It's oil-based as well, just like the primer. So I found those paints to be, very durable and hold up well to abuse. So I think we'll get a good result. Has good reviews online when I read them, so I thought we'd give it a try. So let's open it up and see how it looks. Oh, that's bright blue, all right. Cool. We're on to round two. came out pretty good. It's covering well. Got a few runs, but that's okay. It's just a little garage table. And there's something so satisfying about unmasking a fresh paint job. I just love. All right, now we can put on the casters. And I'm really excited about these. These are some cool pieces here from CasterHQ. Now, I wanted to run casters on mine because, again, I have a small garage, so I need to be able to move it around a bit. But with that being said, I definitely want to be able to lock these, and these are what's called total locking casters. So when you press the lock, not only does it keep the wheel from turning, it also won't allow it to rotate either. So when you lock all these down, the table's not going to go anywhere. And all you have to do is press the tab with your foot, and we have full rotation again. So we're going to get these installed, and yeah, these are sweet. So I'm really excited to put these on. So I'm using 5/16 3/4 inch long plated hardware for the casters. This is going to hold up well, keep things rust free. All right, man, we're making some good progress and I'm liking how it looks. So let's see how she rolls around. I mean, oh, that's great. It's very stable. There's no rocking side to side, so we know it's nice and flat and level. This is gonna be great. So now I can wheel this thing anywhere I want in the garage. I can put it out in the driveway for a project. And let's see how it locks down now. Easy to do with your feet, just walk it around. And then, let's see, stable as could be. That's awesome. Perfect. Exactly what I was wanting from these casters by HQ. So, no, this is going to be perfect. We have the mobility. I think I got the height just right where I want it when I can sit here with a stool. We have our pullout, which just was a little tricky, I'll be honest with you. Once I got everything all welded in, the last weld I did was this portion to the handle, and I tried to weld it all solid, and I actually just tweaked it with the heat a little bit, and I couldn't pull it out. So I had to cut the welds off, and I had to put a series of tacks in there. I have a bunch of tacks, but it's not like fully welded, you know, which doesn't need to be for this portion of the handle. And now it moves perfectly, and there's no binding on it, you know, so a little tricky, so get that to work, but it all worked out good now, and I'm loving it. All right, so just when I thought I was done, I thought about making one little modification to this. Because right now, if you were to pull that little handle drawer out, slide out, you can in theory pull it all the way out, nothing stopping it. So I'm thinking about adding just a little tab right here, put a couple of tacks on it, and that way, like my wife or my kid can't pull it out, fall, and that it'll be nice just to have a nice hard stop. So it'll be a simple solution, and that'll be cool. So we're gonna tack that on. I think we're just gonna hold it in place, give it a couple little zaps. And now, perfect. We can grab our tray, sit it right on there. Now I still want to add a couple tabs on this tray, just to locate it on the handle, and then we'll be done, I think. All right, so we got it done. Again, doesn't look pretty. Tabs aren't going anywhere. That's the good news. Let's see how it fits on the pullout. Let's grab our tray, got our tabs, and it should sit just like that. Perfect. Now we can put the saw on it. We're good to go. Might think we're done, but we're not. I want to give the top one last cleaning, and then I want to protect it, and I'll show you what we're going to use to put on the metal so it doesn't rust. Now before I do coat it, I want to give it a quick wipe down with a Scotch-Brite pad, and then we'll use some metal prep just so it's as clean as possible before we protect it. So just that last final step. Now we're going to quick wipe down with the just wax and grease remover, because yeah, look at that, nasty. So it's not liquid, it's pretty kind of a hard pasty material. We're gonna get a little bit on there and just apply it on the steel. So you can actually see as you work it in, the little cloud, just like you would on a car when you apply wax before you buff it off. So, all right, let's give a quick close-up of everything that I've done, just in case you missed anything. Again, there's my little plate, a couple of tacks holding that in place. This bracket, again, just a little angle, cut, held, and support it. Now this steel I'm gonna have to keep probably WD-40'd. I'm gonna keep that in there and keep it all sprayed up so we don't have any issues with that seizing up or rusting in there. Well, if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed this project, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I've been tired of working on the floor, and I was able even to use this project at the end of the build, you know, finishing up that aluminum box for the table. So, and it worked out great, exactly what I was wanting. So hopefully it inspired you maybe, or gave you some tips on building a welding table or fixture table yourself. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And you know, if you turn that bell notification, you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.